let's get this meeting started and hopefully we can go from there. Hopefully we get some more as we go. So, let's see, we're gonna call this meeting to order. Pete, would you like to do our opening prayer?
Yes, I will. All right. We thank thee, Father, for this and all our bounty. Teach us to avoid the pitfalls of prejudice, pride, and vanity. Give us strength to aid the helpless, rid our hearts of selfishness. Teach us mercy, humility, and charity. Make us thoughtful of the weak, the sick, the unfortunate, and needy. Make our humble lives a reflection of thy goodness. These things we ask in thy name. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Let's see, next is gonna be the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you want to stand up, put your hand on your heart and find a flag, or at least point in the direction of a flag someplace. We can say that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and
justice for all.
Amen. All right. Roll call and meeting minutes. Yasmin's not here yet.
I'm handling the roll call for now.
Okay. And then when Yasmin joins us, she will probably put the meeting minutes from our last meeting in the chat. So we can go ahead and get on with that when she gets there and here and joins us.
They're up now.
They're up now, the meeting minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys want to take a minute to go into the chat and look at our meeting minutes, I'll give you guys a few minutes to overlook them.
It says I need access.
Okay, hold on. Let me see what I can do.
It wouldn't let me in.
All right. So the second link is a copy. I'll sort it out with Yasmin. Oh, you know what? I may have to change those permissions. Hold on one sec.
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah, I forgot to do it. Oh, and there she is.
That's the biggest thing with Google Docs.
Yeah.
Make sure you give people.
Okay, you should be able to try it now, everybody.
All right, so go on in there and open up those documents and look it over so we can vote to accept them.
Hey, Yasmin, just so you know, I made a copy of the meeting minutes to share out like right before you joined.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Yasmin, did you get anything from Josh or Adam or Rick this morning?
Not that I know of. I don't think I've gotten anything.
All right, so hopefully that's given enough time for everybody to look it over. Let's see, do we have any, do we have any discussion on meeting minutes?
Nope. Chuck, I have one thing that I don't know if it goes under new business or my report, so we'll cover it then.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of accepting Yasmin's meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? All right, and with that being said, we accept her meeting minutes for her report. All right, and we move on to the president's report. We have started looking at our convention for next year, and we're starting to work on getting everything set up for that. Lots of changes have happened here in the past couple of years with Corona, but then also with a new constitution and everything. So we're working on just trying to push through that and work through it. We're still working on getting a few other organizations going and just trying to update and uplift our organization so that we can get more membership in. So it's just a busy time, and especially now we still have to deal with Corona and everything. So it's painstaking work, but we've been trying our best to move forward. So I don't have a whole lot to report because there's still just a whole lot that's in the works. So with that being said, that's my report, and I submit it for acceptance.
Second.
All
Dennis.
right. And now discussion.
What locations you're looking at?
We have decided that we are going to be at the Lansing Center, just because we were supposed to be there last spring, and we still had the contract. They actually let us move our contract back a year with no fines or fees or added costs added to it. So we are going with the Lansing Center, and then hopefully, since we've gotten the $50,000 grant from the state of Michigan last year, and we are in line to get the grant this year, we decided we really want to try and get back in there and see if we can get our legislatures down to see us. So we decided to keep on going with the Lansing Center this year.
Oh, so we're having it 2 years in a row, more or less there. Right, because this year it's there, right?
Yeah, this year's there.
And next year it'll be there, or more likely it'll be there.
Well, we don't, historically, yes, it would have been at the Lansing Center next year.
Yeah,
But we're still not sure about next year. I think that it would be an idea, but with our finances the way they are, that'll probably dictate more about where we are than history will. So there's a chance maybe we'll go with a different location next year just because of finances. And like you said, going there 2 years in a row might not necessarily be the best decision to do.
okay.
All right, any other questions or topics for discussion? All right, all those in favor of accepting my meeting minute or my minutes or my report, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? All right. So with that being said, let's move on to tankers. Vice President report. Let's see if Tanker is here.
No, I don't see him.
No, I don't see Tanker either. So he did not give me a report yet. So I don't think we really have anything to discuss or report with that. I just know that he's got a lot on his plate. He is one of the main people that's taking over doing all of our awards. Jeff decided to step down after many, many years of making awards. So I think Tanker is actually taking on that part in his wood shop as well. So no report for Tanker. Now we move on to Yasmin.
Sorry, I'm trying to multitask. Okay, so for my report, I don't have a definite secretary's report, but I did put in for sketchies for all of our monthly meetups, and those were all approved. I did leave off one monthly meetup because it was scheduled for May 14th. And that's the last day of conference, and I just don't know what to do for that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we could probably go without.
scratch that one.
Okay. But all of the other ones are approved. So the first one is starting October 9th, and that's
Okay.
approved for sketchies.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yasmin, could
Um,
you send me that paperwork just so I have copies?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry, Chuck.
So then that'll get put in and then we get that question thing we have to fill out when you go into the sketchy thing.
Yep.
So automatic, okay. All right, as long as you attend it.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Yasmin, are you gonna talk about the sketchy meetings, or is that something that Dave is gonna talk about?
I didn't have it planned to talk about it, and I do not have that paperwork in front of me.
Okay, so, because I think that's something important that we tell our membership about, is that our new meetings and whatnot that we're gonna be running, and all those sketchy opportunities that we're gonna have. So is that, Dave, is that something you're gonna talk about?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. All right, so with that, we move, what is it? We move to accept Yasmin's, no, we have to discuss.
No, we have to do the accepted and second first.
All
So
right,
I move that we accept Yasmin's minutes.
there we go.
Yeah,
I
you
can
gotta
second
check.
that.
Okay.
And discussion. Do we have any questions or things to talk about with Yasmin's report?
No,
Okay, so now we move to vote on it. All those in favor of accepting her meeting minutes, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Okay, with that being said, we accept her meeting minutes. Or it's early in the morning. With that being said, yeah, we accept her report and we can move on to Josh Burkhardt, our treasurer's report. Have we gotten anything from Josh about that?
No,
Okay. So we can just put no report from Josh Burkhardt. And texted Adam a little bit ago. Like I said, I think he said he was up camping. But I thought he was going to try and make the meeting. But it doesn't look like he is able to. Because I haven't heard anything back from him yet. And my phone is being dumb right now. Nope, nothing back from Adam yet. Okay, so no report from our convention chairperson. Let's move ahead. If they end up
I think he
joining us
just-
a little.
I think he just hopped on.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like he's connecting right now.
Yep. He just sent me a text. He said he thought it was at 9:30. All right, let's give him a minute to sign on and he can give us a rundown of our convention. All right, good morning, Adam. Are you there?
I think he's still connecting.
Yeah.
All right, well, how's about this? Let's move forward to Rob Lindsay's report, since Rob is here and ready to go. And then once Adam gets signed on, we can come back to him after that. So Rob Lindsay.
I'm
are you
here,
ready
by
to
the way.
report?
Rob just left, so Adam go. Rob Miller is gone. He disappeared.
Oh, this Zoom is being fun this morning. All right, Adam, you ready?
Yeah, I have no report, but I'm ready.
Oh, there he is.
Okay, well, what can you tell us about our convention?
I haven't started anything yet, but I probably need to get going. I don't think we have anybody help me yet. I was gonna start doing the table orders and getting that sort of stuff squared away here at the end of September. So and we can start working on judges and stuff in October. So
Okay.
all the social stuff is set up. As far as all that goes, the breakfast is all set up, the lunches are all set up, all that stuff's taken care of. So what I really need to do is get the judges stuff taken care of, the table stuff taken care of. It's not overwhelming.
Yep.
But I get going on it. I've been in assistant principal mode 110%. So I've done very little of anything else because that consumes like all of me, but we'll get there.
All right, so we move to accept Adam's report.
Move to accept it.
Accept it.
Second.
All right, and discussion. So, Adam, I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. If you have a lot of the social stuff done, and you logged in the place or location, and all that kind of good stuff, give yourself some credit. That's a lot to get done. And you're right, it is an overwhelming task. So give yourself a little bit of credit, bud.
Hey, Adam, is there paperwork, like any packets or paperwork you send the judges?
I've never done that before. I thought Kevin had all the stuff for judges, like a list of judges and stuff that we've used. So, I'm not really sure how that all works.
Well, because here's what I'm
No,
thinking.
well, when it comes to the judges, I had a list that I gave to you, Adam. And what I did was, email all of them, then the ones that didn't email me back, I call them. And I try to get, Marvin was on there a little while ago. Marvin helped me get some of the drafting and CAD judges. I went to Great Lakes Woodworking, got a lot of the woodworking judges. So a lot of it was phone calls, but most of it in the very beginning was an email, just getting them aware that we're looking for judges.
Adam, what
That's
is,
the biggest part of the job, I think, getting the judges.
I think the professional development's going to be the biggest part of the job, which I have not started on.
Actually, I'm
Uh,
sorry. I forgot about that. You're right.
well, I'm gonna help you with getting the professional development stuff, Adam, but what I was gonna do is put together a form on the website where people could go and sign up to be a judge. That would give us a yearly list. We could collect contact information, and it would also trigger off an email sending them any information they needed. You want me to move forward with that?
For sure.
Okay. Then I'll talk to you and Kevin and get that put together next week.
Done.
What's that, Adam?
I asked if you were still there because you were quiet where no one's talking.
Yep, I'm here. I just got a text from Tanker. He said he's up north and his Wi-Fi is crap, so he's struggling to get on, but he's trying. So, all right. Do we have any other discussion or questions for Adam? Adam, what do you have lined up? You said you had some stuff done for our social and whatnot. What kind of things do you have in mind for social activities?
So we've got I'll have to look at my list, but that Thursday, or one of those days, we've got the bar and we've got the keg, kind of like we did up north. So we've got that for one day. And then we've got the restaurant deal, that bar across the street for one day. Can't remember exactly. And then the president's breakfast is lined up. So that's all set. So basically there's 2 nights of, I don't know, where we get together, hangout time, and then the president's breakfast.
Okay. Heck yeah. And I think, honestly, I think that those social activities are some more of those really, really important things that we need to continue to do with our membership, just because of, where we're at in education. I mean, face it, all the shop teachers are pretty much by ourselves for the most part. And so this actually, again, brings us together and gives us an opportunity to rub elbows and whatnot. So good work. All right, any other questions or comments for discussion with Adam on his report? All right, all those in favor of accepting Adam's report, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. All right, so with that being said, we have accepted Adam's report, and we can move on. So next in line, Rob Lindsay with Commercial Exhibits. Rob, tell us about your report. Is Rob there?
Rob, you're muted.
Yeah, he's right here.
Rob, you got to turn your sound on.
You guys hear me now?
Now we can.
All right, I don't know what happened there. I must accidentally hit the button or something because I was good before. All right, anyway, I have right now 3 commercial exhibitors. First one is, let me look here. Okay, I have L&L Johnson Lumber Manufacturing Company. And they've paid $400 for a full page ad. I'm sure they'll do the convention. I haven't contacted them on that part yet. The other one is Central States Forest Products. They donated $4,000. Okay, so they gave us a check for $4,000, and he'll probably be at our convention also. And the last one is University of Northwest Ohio, and they paid $400 for an advertisement too. And I'm sure they'll be at our convention. Plus, I'll be working on other ones coming up pretty quick here. I was gone a lot of the summer doing different things, so I haven't really gotten started on the people that are going to attend our convention, but I'll be getting on it pretty quick here. If you guys can help me by getting any other vendors, I'd appreciate it. You know, people you have contacts with. Dennis will know that after you're out of teaching 3 or 4 years, you start losing contact with vendors that you were doing business with, and they kind of fade away. So you guys that are still in teaching, if you can get some of the people that you're buying from to put an advertisement in, you'll let me know and I'll contact them. That's all I have for my report.
All right, and we move to accept Rob's report.
I approve to accept Rod's report.
I second it.
All right, and discussion.
Hey, Rob, have those vendors paid for web advertising as well?
They have.
Okay,
Those are the
can-
only 3 so far. And
Can
I think the
you-
rest of them, we need to take off webpage until they renew. Because we got a lot of people on their companies, I should say, they have not renewed their subscriptions, so. But they
Right,
couldn't last year, 'cause we didn't have a convention, so.
Right. I didn't want to remove everybody because basically all of them, and I haven't received any info on those 3. I think LL Johnson, you sent me something, but we've got to work on getting them a advertisement that can fit into the spaces we have. I think you sent me a PDF last month. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. I need contact info from that to get a hold of them to rework their ad, because it would take up like an entire web page.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I got to get hold with them and see if we can do like maybe
You're talking about great, you're talking about the L&L Johnson? Or are
yeah,
you talking about Central States Forest Products?
LL Johnson.
Okay, all right.
I think I talked to somebody at Central State, but I didn't hear if they had actually paid or not.
Yeah, they paid.
Okay, so I'll get them up this weekend.
Yeah, if they pay $400 for an advertisement in the journal, they're basically paying for the webpage too. That's part of their advertising.
Okay. Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I already have Central States done. If you can get me the contact info for LL Johnson and the other company, I'll get those squared away this week.
I can do that right now if you want them now. You got a pen?
Can you email it to me? Because my
Okay,
notes
I
are
understand. That's,
all over the place.
I'll email it to you.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Have you contacted the tool house up in
No.
Gladwin? I just
I
talked to the
said-
guy, so I just talked to him.
Okay. Yeah, because I I did a little business with them when I was teaching.
Yeah,
them,
well, Dave, I called Dave King because I'm looking for a planer, and Dave sold the business, and they're no longer selling machinery. It's
Oh,
just
really?
strictly, yeah, it's just the new owners are just doing millwork and selling lumber. So Dave
Oh,
told me to
because
call him.
recently I
and-
saw on Marketplace, Dave looked like he was after a 18-inch Oliver planer.
Oh,
When did he sell it?
he said the 1st of June.
Oh, okay.
He's been wanting to sell it for quite a few years, but yeah, but they're not selling any tools or machinery.
Oh, they're just milling stock then.
Yep. But yeah,
I used to buy stuff from Dave all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. do we have any more discussion for Rob Lindsay and commercial exhibits? All right, with that being said, all those in favor of accepting Rob's report, say aye.
Aye.
I,
All those
Hey.
opposed, say nay. All
Hey,
right.
Sunshine, can we jump back up and
Yep,
Josh?
yep, that's what we're gonna do next.
All right.
So with that being said, well, we accepted Rob's report for commercial exhibits. And since Josh is with us, let's go back up to our treasurer. And Josh, if you're ready, you can start to give us your treasurer's report.
Absolutely. I apologize. I was late. I didn't realize there was a change. I missed that in the notes. So, okay. So I put in the chat to everyone the links to the reports, the report and the budget. So one of the things that we've been working on here in the last month was finalizing the budget for 2021, 2022, and also closing out the final balances on this last convention cycle. So in the report, if you can see it on those links, we did end final balance for the year of available cash. This is outside of endowment and outside of the LUTS grant. The available cash at the end of the year after outstanding expenses is considered as $22,136.91 cents. So $22,136.91. And then one of the things that we want to do today is to approve the budget if we haven't, since we haven't had a chance to do that yet today, it sounds like. So any questions from that report I'd be happy to answer, but it's pretty straightforward. It looks like for available funding going into the next year. And looks like it's a pretty typical amount based on, because again, I came in at a time when we didn't have any official convention. So I'm not really in the cycle of doing this with convention. So this is, from what I can tell, seems to be a pretty standard running balance for us going into the next year. So we are looking pretty good, especially when we look forward at the budget, what we're looking at for the next year for income. It does seem that we're in a okay place. As we've discussed before, funding is always important. Anytime we can find new funding streams, which we're dealing with right now, is awesome. And I would like to see this available funds after outstanding balances always continue to grow every year as we go forward. So that's my report, and I move for its acceptance.
All right. I move to accept his report.
I second it.
All right, and discussion. Josh, were you able to post the new budget?
I shared the link in the chat for everybody here today. So if anyone wants to take a look at that, that is available.
Okay.
I have a question. Looking at the new budget, I see we are still, we're spending $6,000 on a lobbyist. And so are we getting reports from them on what they're doing for us?
Yeah, so I share those reports
Yeah.
with, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Adam.
I share those reports with Chuck and with Pete that come through. The big thing that our lobby does for us is we continue to get this $50,000 grant, and Chuck and I go to Lansing and meet with people and just rub elbows and schmooze and talk to senators and Congress people about how we need this $50,000. So that is the primary thing that he is doing for us right now.
Okay.
As far as what he's lobbying for, we were very specific that we wanted this money and that needed to be the focus of what he did. So that is primarily what he does for us. And we kind of agreed that as long as he keeps getting us $50,000 a year, then we'll keep him as our lobbyist. But
Sure.
if that were to stop and that's his primary job, then we won't have a lobbyist.
Okay, this is one of the first times it actually feels like the money is we're getting something back in return.
Right,
Yeah,
right. But
yeah.
I mean, there are regular reports. It's
Sure.
just we get reports like every 2 weeks or
Yeah.
so, or once a month or whatever. But they're like tons and tons of information that isn't particular to us specifically. Especially right now, it's like COVID stuff and COVID relief fund stuff and those type of things that he's lobbying for, because he lobbies for a lot of school groups like the Principals Association, the superintendents, the special ed, so it's not just us that he lobbies for. So we get all the reports. But the one that's particular to us, that's most important to us, is that he helped us get that $50,000 again.
Can I speak? This is Jim Thielander. That's bullshit. I got the $50,000 through my legislators.
Hey,
Right.
Jim, I'm gonna interrupt you and I'm gonna ask that we keep this PG. So no swearing, none of
Okay.
that. This is a
Hey, guys.
professional debate.
Hey,
It's
guys,
nonsense.
I'm
My
gonna,
legislators got it through my action, not through anything that Adam did. And they'll continue to get it as long as they're in power there. Okay? Adam didn't have a doggone thing to do with that.
Well, actually, he's not in power anymore.
Lobbyists
Or-
haven't done anything for us and probably won't do anything for us. We've had this
Hey,
discussion
Jim.
before. They're not doing anything for us and we're wasting our money.
Hey, Jim, Hernandez isn't in power anymore.
Hey, guess what? He is in power still. He has another position there. He's not as a legislator, but he is a chairman of some group that gets us the money. That's who got us the money, Hernandez, not anything your lobby group did. I can't think of anything that they did for their $6,000 except have a party on us. They haven't done a damn thing. You can't point to me. We had this discussion before in writing on the emails. They haven't done anything. You send them $6,000 for what? They didn't get us the money. My legislator got us the money. Okay?
hey, guys, Adam, everybody. I was with Jim 3 years ago. We met in Lansing. I forget the name of the building. And we met with Hernandez. So I got to back Jim up on that because we worked hard and we explained what was happening to CTE and industrial education throughout the state. Those guys were kind of unaware of it and they were going to jump on the ball, and they talked about making donations to mites at that time. So that was like 3 years ago. I think after I was convention chairman. Am I right, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So our lobbyist got Chuck and I to go visit with Hernandez when he was in the big desk, and we went and talked to him and talked about Jim. And no doubt, Jim Thielander got that original $50,000 for us, 100%. Since then, we have continued to lobby for that money. So because it was scheduled to go away and then it came back.
You
So-
did that through the lobbyist?
We did that through the lobbyist, right?
Okay.
I do it through a phone call to my legislator, who is now has some position in Lansing. He's going to be there for a long time. That's who gets us the money. And sending $6,000 to a lobbyist who hasn't done anything for us at all is just a waste of money. It's ludicrous. They haven't done anything. Yeah, remember we had this discussion. I was asking for a report from them that you said you got. We went back and forth to you and Lucci's. We never got a written report from them. You still haven't given a written report from them.
So Chuck, have
waste
you
of
been
money.
sending the reports that I send you? Because the deal was that I was going to send the reports to Pete and you were going to get those reports to him.
Deal is that Jim Thielander is going to communicate through Pete and Yasmin. And so far, we have not seen that happen. Jim is continuing to try and email everybody. So I do not communicate directly with Jim Thielander. So that is a question for Pete. But I'm just going to throw this one out there. We can argue and we can let our emotions flare, and we can, like I said, go back and forth about this issue. But here's the basis. The more and more we argue about something that is not necessarily the most relevant to our conversation, the more and more we are going to detract from the goals that we have at hand. So whether or not, Jim, we understand that you did a lot of work to get this $50,000 grant in the original place. Nobody's taking that away from you, but on the same note, we still have a lobbyist. That lobbyist still does a lot of work for us to continue to get that grant. Whether you agree with us spending that money or not, that is your opinion. But as a group, we have decided and we have voted on this to continue to pay our legislators. So we all have our own opinions on whether this is a financially sound decision or not. But the fact of the matter is that with this controversial option that we do, we have always brought it to the table to vote for as a group. And we make sure that we have voted for it every meeting that we have actually decided to pay them, because we know that it is a decision that probably shouldn't be just made by one person or the executive board. So we need to stop arguing about something that we voted on as an organization membership.
Chuck,
So let's move forward.
we haven't got anything to show for it from that.
I'm going to ask you to desist for a couple of minutes and let me finish. We have gotten, to go with what you just said, we have gotten reports. They send us reports every other week. So therefore, once again, we need to stop squabbling about something that we vote for as an organization. Now, when it comes back up for a vote to reprocess and basically redo their contract, at that point, sure, we can squabble and we can argue about it. But right now is not the time or the place. Let's focus on our treasurer's report that we have right now. One thing that I would like to say and would like to add is that we are supposed to be looking over our treasurer's report and our new budget so that we can vote and progress that. Secondly, I would like to go ahead and I would like to say, Josh, can you please talk to us about the grant, the classroom mini grants that we are sending out? I know that there was an email sent out about that recently. Can you briefly go over what it is that we are looking for applications, and also tell us about the due dates for the applications?
Absolutely, Chuck. I'd be happy to do that. So actually today, close of business today, which would be midnight for me, is the deadline for the mini grants. So we have a classroom and a professional development mini grant. If you have not had a chance to look at the website, pull down the information and submit one, please go ahead and do so by the end of today. We have, I believe, 9 so far that have been submitted, which I'm very pleased with. So that's going to give us a good pool to look through. I'm hoping that some come in through the rest of today. And the ones that we have so far are mostly actual mini grants for the classrooms, but we have had 1, maybe 2 professional developments come in, which is exciting to see that individuals are looking to go to professional development. So that I was actually really pleased. And they look really good. I mean, so far just breezing through them. If you have any questions about, maybe you haven't turned yours in yet, you have questions about it, you can contact me and I'll go ahead and answer those. Those are $1,500 a piece for professional development that MITES is willing to subsidize up to, and also for the mini grants themselves for the classrooms. And basically they are for any new and exciting thing you would like to do in your classroom. And there's some criteria listed there on the cover sheets that you'll submit. Along with that, the professional development is for covering expenses for an individual member to get to and from an event and to attend an event where professional development is offered. So maybe you have something, out of state, there's a conference coming up that you want to go to for your professional development purposes. That's what that would be utilized for. Help to offset travel expenses, help to offset the registration, the hotel, and so on, including meals. So some of these conferences could be, all paid for through that mini grant, depending on what they are. So that's kind of exciting. Other than that, again, the close of that is today. We have had that out there for 2 weeks. It has been emailed out to membership. It is on the website. There is a link to that. Thanks, Dave, for putting that up. I really appreciate that. It worked out really well. And so kudos to Dave. And also for the team getting this together to utilize these funds from the actual grant itself. So this is an exciting way that we can use this grant to help out educators in our field. And other than that, we will be looking at dispersing those funds via check here in the next week. Those need to be expended out for the purpose of the MDE grant from this last fall by the end of the fiscal year this year, which ends this coming Thursday at midnight. So we will be notifying those that are recipients and that check is coming to look for that here this coming week. So if you did submit one, just keep an eye out and an ear out, and we will be in contact with you this week to let you know that's in the mail.
Hey,
Other than that-
Josh,
Mhm.
on that, you had one small mistake in that you said they were due the 25th, Sunday, the 25th.
That's possible.
So make it 12:01.
There you go.
That way you
12
got
at midnight
Sunday
only.
covered.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 of us looked over that too.
You know, question, how do we communicate to the membership that these grants were available? Because I haven't
It
seen.
got sent out to them,
Now to who?
to the
Well,
membership.
we sent out an email to all the membership.
I never saw a
Jim?
copy.
But it probably only went to people because of the list that you're on, and teachers list is that's probably what happened.
What list am
You're on the non-teaching list. So that's probably where it went. It probably went some you know.
Hey,
It,
Jim,
it
you don't
was- it
qualify
was-
for the grant
you
anyway.
don't qualify for the grant, so that's why you wouldn't have seen it. So it only
Yeah,
went to the people that qualify for it.
Yeah,
Gotta be
basically,
presently teaching to get it.
Yes.
I sent it out to anybody that would fit the qualifications for it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to
Well-
overwhelm people that didn't qualify for it with just another email from
Yeah.
Lights.
It was, yeah.
Oh, you guys afraid of hurting people's feelings again? Come on.
No, you know what, Rob? We're afraid there are people that are unsubscribing to that email list because they're getting too many. So
Oh,
we're kind
really?
of,
Okay.
yeah, I'm trying to target people for appropriate emails.
That's why you guys wouldn't give me the email. That's to give to my vendors. Oh, that's, I understand. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, number one, we did, thank you, Dave, for posting. If you haven't applied for one of the grants and you would like to apply for a grant, Dave did just post, I believe, the link to the application in our chat. So if you'd like to apply for that grant still, like we said, it is still open until tonight. I bet you I'd be willing to say that if you sent it tomorrow, we would probably still accept it and look at it and consider it for an application. So don't be afraid to apply for that grant. So, all right, moving on with our business, back to the original reason why Josh is here for us, our treasurer's report. We do have to accept our new budget, and we do also have to accept his report. So which one would we like to do first? Do we want to accept his, look at the budget and accept that?
No, we should finish the report and then probably move the budget to like either old or new business to close that out as a line item there.
Okay, all right, so Yasmin, will you put the budget acceptance underneath new business? And then right now, we will currently look at Josh's treasury report. So with final words, do we have any more discussion in relationship to Josh's treasurer report?
we find it?
What's that, Jim?
If you were on when I was on and haven't logged off of the call today or the Zoom, it's in the chat. You have to scroll up. It's the 2 links above the treasurer report remark that I made in there. One is the treasury report itself, one is the budget. That was posted at 9:36, because I didn't realize again, we were starting at 9, I apologize.
Hey, Josh, can I ask you a quick question?
You sure can.
On the grants that are being issued this coming week, now, is there just one grant for each category, or, because I'm seeing outstanding expenses 13,076 by the MDA grant funds allotted. So is that the amount of grant money, or is it just up to $1,500 grants? What is that?
Good question, Marv. No, we actually have a remaining amount of 7,500 that we allocated. So we'll be doing up to 5 grants
Okay.
themselves across the board between them. So it could be we do all mini grants. We could do a smattering of both.
Gotcha. I just, because I mean, it wasn't clear if it was a one-shot deal or if it was, there was some money being spread out between more than just one grant. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, do we have any more discussion or questions for Josh in relationship to his treasurer's report?
Hey, Chuck, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Hey, this is Bobby. Hey, I just wanted to say thanks for the email because I did put in for that. And then also it helped me with renewing my membership. And that was with a couple guys from our school. So, you know, since we didn't have that conference, maybe some of those lapsed. And that email and this grant also helped us get to be a current member. So we were able to kind of get caught back up and back into the actual mix of, you know, the competition this year. So, yep, I got the emails. It worked out good, and we're all submitted and renewed. So,
awesome. Awesome. Are you, now I know you guys got a new graphic arts teacher. Are you bringing her into the fold and getting her involved with Mike's too?
yep. That actually, she submitted for one of the PDs, but she has to, I just asked her about renewing the membership, and that was not current yet. So she's hopefully doing that this weekend. And then we picked up Josh Bridges, and he is our CAD instructor since Jesse left, Jesse
Oh,
Mays.
heck yeah.
So
Heck
we
I
got
haven't
him.
seen
Yeah.
Josh in forever. Dude, that's awesome.
Yep. So he's all renewing. We're working really good together. So, yep. And we'll be
good.
up there in Lansing this year. Have a good presence.
All right, heck yeah. For those of you that don't know, that's Bobby. He is actually, him and his group is from Van Buren Tech Center. So we have a fairly good presence down there and they do a great job. So, all right. So any more questions or comments for Josh and his treasurer's report? All right. So with that being said, all those in favor of accepting Josh's treasurer's report, say aye.
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 And all those opposed, say nay. Okay, with that being said, we are accepting his report. And now we can jump back down to our item G, which is the REO chairperson's report, presented by Chuck Lukes. All right, so since this is my thing to talk about, our REO, I haven't done a whole lot with it yet. I know that I have one of my regions is already set, courtesy of Don Shad, which he is actually running in conjunction with one of his neighboring regions. So we have 2 of them set up. I am looking to send out, hopefully, I know I said I was going to send out this past week, but things have just been crazy. But this next week, I hope to send out an email to all my REOs getting their information for our region so we can get that set up. And then also I'm looking to, at that same time, set up maybe a Zoom meeting with all of our REOs so that we can start to work on that documentation for reaching out and finding new members. To me and to our executive boards, members, we have found out, and we feel very strongly that our REOs are actually probably the most important part of our organization, because there's a number of them and they can all reach out in their local organizations and local communities to find more members. So we're looking at moving forward with that. I do want to say that if the REO chair is something that somebody would like to take over and like to excel with, I feel from my personal place in time and space that I have a lot of hats in mites, and I love mites, and I will never walk away from mites. But I feel as though because I have so many hats, being the president and the RAO chair, and I'm on the rules board and the rules committee and RAO and all these kind of different positions, I don't feel as though I'm giving this important position enough attention. So if there is somebody that is looking at possibly getting more involved in mites and they would like to take on a position, this would be a great position to take on. Being that, like I said, it is one of the most important ones, and I don't think I'm doing it to the best of my ability. So if this is something somebody would like to try, I'd be more than happy to relinquish that to them, and then more importantly, help them succeed and excel in our organization. So with that being said, I would like to submit my report for approval.
I move to approve Chuck's report.
Second.
All right, and we open this up for discussion. Is Don Shad still here?
Yeah, it
He
looks
went on
like it.
vacation. He's deer hunting.
He's just
What
on
I,
there.
no, I, what?
Yeah, you weren't expecting that.
Yeah,
Don't worry, Don.
yeah.
If you wanna step back into this role, I'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, well, let me kick it around, but yeah, right now with everything I have going on too.
No, I don't blame you. So,
I
no,
know
I
I
just
stepped-
figured I'd get a little giggle out of you about that.
I
I know I
will
stepped
ask,
away a little bit, but I plan to come back. I got a few more years in me for teaching still, so, yeah, I just, well, I started coaching football, so that eats up a lot of my time right now, but
Oh, there you go.
like I said, let me kick it around, and a lot of times my wife took up a lot of the, did all leg work on the computer, so.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be a big factor, but
Yeah. No worries,
said,
no pressure.
yeah,
I was
let
just
me kick it
teasing.
around.
I think whatever we do with this and how we do it, I think we really need to look at making a lot of that stuff electronic.
Yep.
And getting rid of those binders. I mean, especially now that we have the Google Suites, it'd be so much, I think it would take a lot off too. And
Yep.
a lot of it could be digitalized.
and you
And
know what?
that's
That's fairly easy to do. I just need to get copies of all the different paperwork and
Yeah.
see like what we all want for the packet.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's something I can work on during this year. Dave, you got a lot on your plate and a lot of important things, so I'll work on trying to get that more digitalized and put onto Google Docs. I'll be 100% honest. The last pretty much all summer, I was working on my house to get it finished. And the reason why things have been so crazy is because between working on the house and then working as the president of Northern Michigan Welding Educators. We have a conference in 2 weeks that I've been organizing that was been a fiasco. And then on top of it, I listed my house this week and sold it this week. So it's just been, it's been a hectic to say the least, but I'm hoping here in the next month, it'll calm down and I can actually start to really focus on both school and more importantly, well, not more importantly, but both of them are very important, but school and mites and my organizations that I lead. So like I said, it's just been crazy, but we're moving forward. So, but yes, if we know of anybody that is looking at possibly getting a bigger footprint in the mites and helping out, chomping at the bit, let them know that this is an opportunity and it's something I'm not just gonna, flop on them and say, all right, go do your thing. I'm more than happy to help guide and direct. And, we have an awesome board, executive board and board directors that are more than willing to step in and help guide and help people be successful. Because let's face it, we need to rely on each other for our success. This isn't a one-man show. This is an organization built on volunteering and trusting each other. So,
Well, hey Chuck, I've been beating this around the bush when you made that announcement. And I talked to Kevin and I've talked to Josh and stuff. And I mean, if you do want to step down, then I'd be willing to step up to the plate. And if it's till somebody else wants to do it, that's fine with me. I mean, I would give it 100%, and try to bring in more members and go from there. Because my position on the rules committee is not the head, that's Kevin. But I mean, I think it's a good blend of the two to where, it's one where I think doing the two positions would work well. So.
okay. Yeah, let's, Marvin, how about this? I'll email you hopefully this week sometime, and
Okay.
then maybe we'll have a phone call and we'll kind of discuss what I've done and where we're going.
Sure. Because like I said, I've been thinking about it, and now that my wife's here at the Career Center too, that's where I'm at right now this morning, because she wanted to work in the classroom. And so there's times where, I'm here, and it's one where I would reach out to the different career centers, try to get those teachers involved in stuff, and start looking around at the different counties and see what programs are out there and try to get those people involved. So it's one where, having been involved with MITES when we had on the roster 500 people, whether they were all live or not at the time, trying to get the numbers back to that amount to where we're, a larger functioning organization. So,
All
okay.
right.
And so, yeah, just give me a holler and we'll talk sometime.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate that, Marvin.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so with that being said, do we have any more questions or discussion for REO chairperson report? All right, that sounds good. So with that, all those in favor of accepting the REO chairperson report, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right.
They had to have that.
Well, with the overwhelming ayes, we're going to go ahead and accept that report. And we're going to move on forward. National Organizations Report. We do not have somebody in that position, so that is another option for somebody to fill. We're working with one of our members who was moving forward, but we lost him. So if you know anybody that would like to fill in with that and move us forward, that would be great. Rules Committee report. Is Kevin here with us this morning?
I see something that says Kevin.
Oh, I see Kevin. Kevin, what do you got for us this morning?
I got no report.
Okay.
Well, actually, hold on a second. Come back to me in 2 seconds.
Okay. 1,000, 2,000.
Okay, your turn.
All right, we'll give him a minute.
Well, Kevin's dealing with a sick child, so that's what's
Yeah.
going on there. But to talk on some of his, Kevin and I, and maybe Josh are looking at going through the Rules Committee trailer. We got to get that done. We're looking at setting that up in October. And then at that time, we're also going to finalize all the rules and stuff at that time. So.
Okay, I'm back. All right, so yes, to go on with what Marvin said. Yes, finalizing the rules. I'm waiting on two things. One from Woods. There's a new division in Woods. Finalizing up that. Got to get the construction finalized. I'm waiting on an email for that. And the automotive. They're trying to add two things for automotive. Waiting for that. I gave them an October 7th deadline. So you'll see the rules up on the website October 7th for the latest I can accept any changes to the rules for this year. So you'll be see that, and then trying to line up schedules to go through the rules trailer sometime in October. That's my report.
All right, I move to accept Kevin's report
Second.
and open for discussion.
Kevin?
Yeah.
Sometime probably towards the end of October, I need to talk with you or the rules committee about what kinds of reports you want for convention. I know we've kind of batted that around a little bit.
Yeah, so the reports, all I need is just the, the results for judging.
Yeah.
That would be the reports I need from you. The main thing would be is registration should be open, so that people should be able to register projects. And I am allowing last year's projects to come, so they need to have either a drop-down window for a year, but they're going to be competing with the same. So they're not going to be separate on the floor. So, but I do
Okay.
want, I do want it to be labeled as last year's project somehow, even though it's not, doesn't really matter, I guess. But that's
Yeah.
the idea. So the report, really, all I need is rules or the results for the competition. That's what I would need for a report as of right now. And then, also how many projects in each category.
Okay. Yeah. How about this? If you can send me a list of any reports, even how they're broken down, I can start building those all out. And any other requirements that you're going to have. And I would say do pie in the sky, like everything you could ever want. And I'll start hammering through the list, kind of prioritizing it based on what I know of how convention or competition runs.
Okay. And when are we getting the electronics for the results? Has that been ordered yet or no?
What do you mean
Tablets.
electronics?
The tablets.
Oh, that's a Josh thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if those were ordered yet or not. Yeah, I'll send you a list. I'll send you a
Okay.
list of all the stuff that I would need. But more, the really important stuff would be number of items coming for each category and then the results. But I'll get you a detailed list.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, and Kevin, I need to get you the lineup for the automotive competition and the live project competition and the other ones. Those live competitions we're going with this year. Like I said, I've been kind of slacking off, but
Yeah, good. I just need I need the rules for that, and then how are we going to judge them for the criteria?
Yep.
So we just need the rules,
Oh.
just basic this year, as long as you get me something, or I can whip up something if you need me to.
Yep. Since we have Marvin, we had somebody that was working on our CAD competition. So maybe we can talk about that as well, because they had to step down because they are no
I
longer.
Totally understand that whole situation.
So.
Yeah.
Maybe I could lean on you a little bit to help me out with that so we can get that wrapped up and submitted to Kevin as well.
So,
That's something you'd be willing to help with?
we'll see, because I know, there's some other issues coming around on some things, so.
Okay.
Okay, we'll talk,
Sounds good.
I'll talk to you at that time. How's that?
That
I'll give you
sounds-
that, I'll give you that commit. I'll talk to you when we talk to you, okay?
That works. That works for
Yep,
me.
no problem.
And then, same thing with our graphic arts live competition. The one person I had working on that, she is actually no longer in education either. So I haven't been able to ask her if she's willing to help out still, but I will reach out to her, hopefully next week as well, or later today. But yeah, I'll get you that kind of stuff since that's underneath your committee, rules committee. We'll hopefully get that stuff wrapped up into you, like you said, by October-ish. so that we
October
can start.
7th is 100% the deadline, because I hate dragging it even into October when the school starts. But when you have emails telling you these people want new stuff, you try to accommodate. But obviously they can drag their feet on that pretty long, and so I just October 7th, just because I have that day off, so I'm gonna be putting stuff in there. So
Okay. Pete, do you have stuff written down for that job interview?
Yeah, yep, I do. I just want to talk with I don't know, I've been talking a lot with Josh on it, so I think I just like to chat with him a little bit and then we'll just go from there. I have it pretty well set. It's just how we want to run some of the things, so.
Okay. So as
But I'll
long as
get that
you
too.
get that to Kevin by the 7th, and we'll make that magic happen. So,
We got a question from Sean.
all right. What's up, Sean?
Can you discuss anything more about the potential automotive competition?
Well, I'm waiting on, so we're kind of blending it from the years past of what we're going to do for the running it. I would like it to bring it back to somewhat the same day as the convention. I really liked it on the floor that year. However, I don't know if that's feasible, and I'd like to talk a little bit more of automotive to see what they prefer, because obviously it's all about them. And so I've been trying to reach out from the people who ran it 3 years ago when we were at Shanty Creek. So that year, Ryan was one of them. And I really haven't heard too much back to see what they want to do, but that's where we're at with that. So I'm just got a few emails out there and I'm still waiting to hear how they want to do it.
Yep. Kevin, you should be emailing me about that, because we have, once again, I've just been struggling with getting everything going and moving forward because I got too many hats. But basically hopefully, once again, this next week, I'll send out an email. Sean, you're one of the top people on my list, along with Doug Haygood and Ryan Ransom and Jeremy Tilley, to try and get something going for that. We are starting out behind the 8 ball because we literally all the tests, all the competition stuff that we had before is pretty much gone. So we have to start and recreate things all over again. So Sean, expect an email from me this next week about organizing and getting this automotive competition going. If I don't email you, please hold my feet to the fire and email me back and force me to be responsible.
I just wanted to highlight one other thing. I mean, I know not everyone's in Oakland County or Wayne County, but I know our school district is clamping down on doing anything that requires a sub. There are no substitutes. You cannot get sick. You cannot die. Be in your classroom 24/7. I mean, so if we do get a competition off the ground, will there be a virtual option? Because if not, at least in Oakland County, we won't be able to compete.
Okay.
Well, I certainly think that's an option. I think definitely with the times that we're in, for sure, you got to be understanding. So, but like I say, I think working with Chuck and getting some ideas from other automotives, definitely going to have a competition of some sorts. That's for sure.
Yep. And Sean, that's something that we can talk about next week. If you have an idea for how we can offer a virtual type thing, I am 100% all ears. So, but let's cover that bridge when we basically next week when we send that email out and we start talking about that. So, but I'm wholeheartedly saying, hold my feet to the fire and make sure, I do it. So, all right. I appreciate you being here, Sean. We appreciate you driving and pushing this forward. You're the automotive teacher that's helping to drive this whole thing forward. And, I'm a welding and machine tool teacher, so I'm relying on my automotive shop teachers to help make sure that this thing goes off without a hitch.
Thanks. And for the record, I do want to loop in Joe Lazzarino in this as well, because he was always part of this even before I got around. So.
Okay. Yep. Make sure to send him the email when I send it to you, and we'll get him as part of the group. Because I think I talked all over with Doug, and we got some. I think we came up with about 6 different areas, either 6 or 8 different areas for the automotive competition, and then also splitting that into an advanced competition and a beginner competition. So. We have a little bit of groundwork laid, but obviously the more people we can get to help out and to, design it, the better it's going to be.
Also, I know I mentioned a few times to Josh about insurance for our live competitions, and he's looked into that a couple times and been shot down. So if anybody has any suggestions on insurance, that'd be good.
Okay.
Send them Josh's way.
Yeah, basically, I've gone to 2 major carriers and said, give me, what you can for insurance. This is what we do. And both of them came back and said, I can't find anybody that we directly deal with or any of our subsidiaries that we deal with that are willing to take on that kind of a risk. And that just, at this point, is strictly the negating factor is live student competitions on the floor where there is risk of injury involved. So construction, autos, those type of things, those are negating our ability to get an insurance that would cover for our competition. So if anybody knows of other organizations that are doing similar things, and if you have the ability to either get me the contact or how they're getting their insurance, that would be amazing, because it's negligent on our part to hope that the facility we're in has enough insurance to cover in the event something happens, and that the school where the student's coming from is going to have enough. We have to cover our bases too.
Yep.
Have you thought about Mimic Insurance? Have you contacted anybody from there? Mimic?
I did not. I actually have one here in town. I thought about stepping in and just having a face-to-face with them and see what they have to say.
Yeah, they might help us out. Especially when you tell them we're a volunteer organization, they might help out.
All righty then. My phone just went weird on me.
We have a lot of members that belong to Mimic, don't we? Probably.
Yeah, I'm one.
I'm one.
All right. Do we have any more discussion or questions for Kevin and his Rules Committee report? All right, with that being said, all those in favor of accepting Kevin's report, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, with that being said, we have accepted Kevin's Rules Committee report, and we can move forward to membership report. Pete Twerk.
Currently I have 5 people that I have already signed up. One of them has signed up for both the in-person and virtual, and one is just signed up with student leadership only. But I'm going to reach out to that person just to make sure that they're not, as they seen that, because they seen what it costs. So to make sure that you're not going to enter projects, because you can't enter projects if that's all you signed up for, is the student leadership part. So just to make sure. So yeah, that's my report.
All right, I move we accept Pete's report
Second it.
Second.
and discussion.
I am going to reach out to all the schools that I interviewed at this past summer, because I know they have somebody there. I was like, one school I would have spent in addition to it, but reach out and see about trying to get those people that they have. And it was quite amazing, to be honest with you. I know we talk a lot about programs closing, but it's surprising when you start looking for jobs and talking to people, how many schools still actually have something. So we just need to reach out to them.
Hey, Pete, I'm going to send you, we have a new middle school wood shop teacher, and I sent him your information to get a hold of you, but I'm going to have you get a hold of him.
Okay.
He came from a math department, and I'd like to get him involved. So
Yeah.
So I'm going to send him your information. So, or send him his information to you.
To me, yeah, that'll work.
Pete, I should probably do that the same with my Northern Michigan welding educators. I probably have 30 different members, and I want to say maybe a third of them are pneumatics, but that means that 2/3 are probably still floating around without. And they know what mites is because I literally talk about it every meeting for at least a half hour.
Right.
Let me send you that this week too. That way
Well,
we've got-
I think that's the same as with the construction teachers too. I think there's a lot of them. Yeah, there's some that do it, but yeah.
Hey, Pete, can you put together some kind of flyer reminding people to re-up their memberships for the year? If
Yeah.
you can, I can get that sent out.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a big thing is just people haven't renewed their memberships yet.
Yeah, I'll get that.
We do a short newsletter to everybody.
I was actually going to ask that same exact question once we got down to our publicity and public relations, Jim. Thanks for bringing that up. Where are we, since I don't see Lois on our meeting, where are we at with that basically flyer that we're going to send out? I know that we've decided and talked about sending out a flyer about monthly with all the different, things going on for the month or, heads ups. So do we know where we're at with that? I know, Dave, you were going to work with Lois on that. So can you give us a little heads up since it kind of relates to Pete's membership?
Sure. Yeah, I've emailed her a couple of times and tried to call her twice. And I haven't heard back from her. I don't know if it's just starting of the school stuff or what's going on, but I'll try and touch base with her either this week or next week to see if we can get that back on track.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something I want to talk to you kind of on aside to that, Chuck. I'll give you a call
Okay.
later this week.
Yeah, or we can talk in the executive board meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, but as long as we got going, because I personally, I think that Jim is right with that part. We need to get out a publication at least once a month, not necessarily with a whole bunch of articles and things about, what's happening in the industry, but more importantly, what do members need to be looking at for mites, like we'll have you talking a little bit about the PD that we're going to be offering every month, the upcoming dates for membership and things like that. So I definitely think that is another one of those really important parts that we need to get done. So thanks, Jim, for bringing that up and reminding us.
You can maybe include a little calendar and future events or something.
Yep, that's exactly what we're going to do. All right. So do we have any more questions or comments for Pete Twerk and his membership report?
Well, one question on Pete's thing. Now that we, we've got professional development virtually and all that. When we get the membership cost and stuff, is there going to be a better or is there going to be an explanation of what the new benefits are now involved?
Yeah, that's something I needed that should be on there.
Okay.
I think I
Okay.
need to add that. And that's kind of what the flyer would be, I guess, explaining it.
Because I sort of missed the thing about the virtual coming up next month. I don't know if that was an email or what's going on with that, but I mean, just telling people, here are the breakdowns for the convention coming up. Like you said, was the teacher aware that when they signed up for the one thing that they weren't able to get project centered?
Yeah.
So,
And then, yeah, and the same thing, I got an email, I think it was from Tanker's student teacher, because it came from Rockford, asking about lifetime membership. And I haven't emailed him back, but it's like, no, we don't have that option. So,
well, they do if they want to become president.
and speaking of that, that's something that we actually have to look into changing too. So how we're going to change that at some point, because of how it used to be, as progression over the 3 years. Well, now that's totally different now. So
sure,
we need to look at how that's going to change for the executive board. We should just have one of our discussions.
Yep, I'm open to that. All right, any more questions or comments for Pete Twerk and his membership report? All right, so with that being
Membership
said,
report Be approved.
what's that, Jim?
I move that his membership report be approved.
We already moved it, so now we're gonna vote on it. So all those in favor of accepting Pete's membership report, say aye.
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 And all those opposed, say nay. All right, with that being said, we accept and approve Pete's report for membership. And we'll move forward for the webmaster report, Dave Weeks.
So I'm putting the link to my report in chat real quick. And let me do this too. I'll switch to the right one. There we go. Okay, so competition system, I'm chugging away at that. I'm gonna have, whenever rules committee gives me the green light, I'll open up project registration. Let's see, probably by, well, I got to talk to rules committee about this, but people will be able to register their projects. They won't necessarily be able to print their tickets for it. We're going back to the Brighton IT ticket that had the 2 circles and everything like that, because everybody I've talked to said that's the best one we've had. So I'm just kind of working out some details with that. Once that's done, then I'm building all the management side of stuff, and that will be for both the regional events and for the state competition. So really, I don't want to commit to dates myself. I want to talk to the rules committee on that and get confirmation from them. Number 2 there is the thing I didn't know if needed to go under new business. So webmaster is a fairly old term for what I do, and my role has expanded. So I want to change the title of it. Is that new business, Chuck? Or do you want to take care of that now?
Let's put that underneath new business. I don't think it'll take a whole lot of time. So Yasmin, can you put that underneath new business for us?
Thanks, Yasmin. And then Josh, Pete, and we've been kicking around this idea of a Mites podcast, and it would be both video and audio form. And so we're laying the groundwork to put that all together now. And I'm hoping, what I'd like to do is record 3 or 4 sessions and then officially launch it, so that we kind of have this backlog, so that if somebody gets sick or family stuff comes up, we have a backlog we can work through. So that I'm hoping by the first of the year to launch it. Does that sound good, Pete and Josh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it might be tough on my end just because of teaching at the college too. It's 2 nights a week. It takes up a lot of my time.
Well, whenever, like, we can do it on whenever we have time. We can work that out. I'm also in the process of working with Michelle to learn Kajabi and Searchy. I'm actually going to meet with her, I think, tomorrow morning to start setting up our Kajabi and get all the PD that we have in her system migrated over. So that's going to probably be, I'm hoping to have it all migrated by the end of October. And as we get PD coming in for the convention, loading it right in. And I'll work with Adam on that later on. Josh, do we have equipment for, like, do we have an idea of when the equipment, like the camera equipment that we ordered with the grant will be in?
I was going to work with you after this meeting in regards to that.
Okay. Because that's one thing I will need for some of the later PD, like those roundtable things we talked about. So we can work on that. The member content survey that I put out, I think 3 weeks ago, that's yielded some interesting stuff. So we have about 15 members that are willing to help out with content creation in various roles. I'm going to start contacting them and trying to get people articles or videos assigned. Probably this week or next week. We gotta see where things are going. We have a bunch of work stuff in the evening this week. And then I'm gonna also be scheduling content, like setting some of it aside for Rick. We'll hold it back so that he has journal stuff. And then we'll hold on to some to slowly put out through the website and YouTube channel. And we're still recruiting for various positions on the content team and general positions for the board. And that is my report.
All right, I move to accept Dave's report
Second.
and open for discussion.
I just want to put out there, anybody that would like to be on, I get on our podcast, it was my idea, and then I conned Josh and David both into helping. But we just would like to, members like Lindsay, we would just like your story, your stuff like that. And so if you would like to do it, maybe somebody retired like Dennis, and just, kind of like an interview, things you did, how things happen. That's what we're looking at doing, not, something in that line. That's what I'm looking at it as. So how you got into education, where it took you, all that. So anybody, if even people in industry that would be supportive of it, just stuff like that. That's what I'm thinking anyway. I don't know if Dave and Josh are thinking the same, but
yeah, and also general education stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that I
issues.
think the members are interested in hearing about. And I think we're going to keep these to like half hour.
Yep.
We'll probably do them through Zoom and then make all the magic happen from there.
I think starting out, we should keep a half hour, but maybe down the road, they may turn into 45, to an hour. So I think we need to keep it small, and then we can always grow into it.
Mm-hmm. Or split it into 2 episodes.
Yeah. Yep. That too.
I think it's a great idea.
Well, and the other thing is there's like with all the podcasts out there, there's very few for education. And I don't think there's any that I've run across specifically for industrial tech or CTE or shop stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Any other questions I can answer for anybody?
I think I caught go ahead, Jim.
I do have one thing for you. Dave, can you talk about, just kind of go over quickly the PDs that we're going to be having upcoming? I know we've set up about once a month, just PD opportunity where they can join in on a podcast and go from there. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sorry, you asked me about that earlier and I forgot. So what these are going to be is like during the pandemic, like all the virtual stuff, we had set up some of these roundtable discussions. This is going to be a similar kind of thing to that. We're going to have a little bit more structure to it. We're going to have specific topics at each one. And off the top of my head, I don't recall the topics. For the first one coming up in October, I'm hoping next weekend to send out information about it. And they will be for those members that have registered for that. I think we may have to figure out a way to kind of differentiate that, because I really would hate to turn any of our members away, but that's a whole nother thing. And then what you'll do is
100 arrows in it.
what you'll do is we'll probably send out like an RSVP kind of thing, so we know who's going to be on it. We'll send out probably the night before to those members specifically a link with a passcode to it. So yeah, other questions I can answer on it. I know that wasn't a ton. I'm still putting this first meeting together.
Dave,
think-
the first meeting is assessment of need in the field, and I don't have good internet because I'm working at my
Okay.
camper.
Okay.
So I can't email them to you. It's just not connecting. But I did try. So I'll keep trying maybe once I'm off Zoom, because everything's running through my internet data or my phone data. So I will try again and see if I can get all of these forwarded to you. But the
Oh, no.
first one in October is assessment of need in the field. And then sure. November is communication in the classroom.
That's right.
December, student competition rules for a better future. January, classroom management. February, student motivation. March, grading that matters. April is working with special needs students, and there was one for May that we can put maybe to a different time, just because the date that was chosen was the Saturday that convention ends. And I
Oh.
just don't know how we would make that work. So that is the only one I haven't put into the state for, but
Okay.
we can always figure a better day and then I can apply for it then.
Sure. And also Michelle is helping me put these together. She's helping me to build like a structure to them so that once we get like 2 or 3 under our belt, where we've planned them, put them on, produce the content for it, we can really start kind of doing these a lot easier. So that's another one of those areas where we're getting the bang for our buck in that. She's really trying to work herself out of a job, if you will. So yeah. So other questions I can answer from anybody?
Yeah, Dave, I caught the beginning of your thing saying that you're gonna be able to have project registration up, but they'll just not be able to print the ticket because you're trying to work on the structure that I suggested. Is that
Yeah.
what it was? Okay.
I'll be honest, the way I'm building it, it's gonna look really good, but putting it together is a pain.
Do you have an example from Brighton IT?
I do. You sent me one last year.
Okay, so I
No,
can resend it if you need to.
well, I can't say last year now.
It's
It
been a
was when
couple-
we all met up by Fenton Road.
Yeah, it's been a couple years. Well,
I don't know how long it's been since that was.
Okay. Well, yeah, as long as we just write the right information on there, and I know it's been huge. I don't know. I shouldn't say huge, but it's been an awful concern from a lot of members about having the names and the school on the ticket. I mentioned to you that before. I get a handful of emails that, again, that's, I don't know. That's either here or there. So I would just make it look like Brighton right now. as
Well,
best
and
as
what
you
I'm
can.
going to do, Kevin, is before we launch that functionality, I'm going to put in a couple of dummy projects
Okay.
and print tickets with them so that, and then turn it over to you to get sign off on. So once rules committee signs off on that, then I'll make it live.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe we can have a Zoom with the rules committee or something, and we can
Mhm.
all look at it and make a decision and then go from there.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Thanks again. I just caught the beginning of your thing saying that. So thanks.
Oh yeah, no worries.
All right, do we have any more discussion or questions for Dave and his webmaster report? All right, with that being said, all those in favor of accepting Dave's report, say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed, say nay. All right, with that being said, we have accepted Dave's webmaster report, and we can move forward to Rick Sillett. I didn't see Rick on.
No, I don't see him.
Nope, I don't see Rick. So maybe if he joins with us later, we'll get him in here. Adam Carr, legislative. Is Adam still here?
No.
No. Adam probably doesn't have
It-
very good reception up there at the camper.
And he sends me all that stuff, but most of it, like right now, it doesn't even portray to that. But I do have something that I can say that maybe he doesn't know, but I think it's House Bill 600, which was the graduation requirements. So that, because I was at a Foundry meeting a couple weeks ago and we had a legislator there, they're putting that in the back burner and waiting until next year to bring that out during lame duck. Because of the fact there's going to be that lame duck session next year, correct? Because next year's election year.
Right.
And they're hoping that then they would get that passed. But at the same time, I think I'm going to get in contact with the guy because he's in my area. But I would like to maybe look at that, and maybe we can also get our lobbyists to help with that. Because, and he said that's why they feel that they could probably get it passed during lame duck. Right now, he says they would hit too many roadblocks. So they just kind of put it on the back burner with the graduation requirement change. But I think we need to look at it because I know it's a lot of it is CTE, but I also think we need to look at maybe some wording in there that has high school classes, whether it's, a wood shop like Don Shad's shop or Kevin, anything. I think that needs to be added into that bill, to be honest with you. And I don't know if it's there right now because I really haven't seen only bits and pieces of it.
And I know that Adam sent us out I think it was just you and me, but I sent an email with 2 different House bills that were coming up here in the next couple weeks that had effect on us. But so hopefully we can get some more positivity out of that and we can work with them. But we need to get Adam on the conversation with that too, so we can get the full story. So for right now, we'll put underneath Adam, no report. Put that in there. And let's go forward. Publicity and publications. Lois Davis. I didn't see Lois here. So we'll put no report for Lois. Okay, and which brings us down to CTSO, Mr. Dave Weeks. What do you got for us?
Okay, so I've been going through the stuff that I had. Unfortunately, Pat had quite a bit of stuff. And after talking to some different people, we're looking at a couple of different ways to do this. What we're going to do is I'm hoping by the first of the year to have the documents together for members to start forming chapters within their schools. And then from there, we would really start tying in the leadership conference this year. And like as part of the yearly thing, we'd be at least encouraging it. I don't think we'd require it. The first year or two is a community service project of some kind. So like say building a bunch of birdhouses and selling them to donate to a local charity or something, or we'll leave that up to them. Because we also have to see how it works with COVID and who has what capabilities. But I really think building that community relations and positive aspect is great for our programs. And it also gets the names of the programs out there into the community, which hopefully brings more students into our programs and strengthens those, and people tell their local school boards to keep their CTE and industrial tech programs around. So that's kind of where we're heading for it. Let me make sure I didn't leave anything out there. Yeah. Oh, one thing we will need to look into is we do need to have some sort of national organization tie. And we have that national organization position open right now. Any thoughts on which one we might want to look at?
I think that the easiest one and probably one of the best ones would be the, what is it? It's the National Honors, CTE National Honor Society.
National Technical Honor Society?
Yep, that one right there.
Okay.
I think
yeah,
that'd be an awesome one to go with because it has a great title. They do awesome things for kids all the way across the board. So I think that would be the one I would go after.
Okay. Well, I'll start working on them. I'll be honest, I'm gonna get the local chapter stuff set up first because I think that's an easy thing to implement and it meets the requirements. As long as we have that student leadership for us being a CTSO officially. And then once we get all this set up, then we've got to start talking to the state about officially getting recognized and registered as a CTSO like DECA and all the other acronyms.
Yeah, and there's not really an application for that. It's more of a, hey, you got to rub the elbow the right way.
Oh, okay.
But if we get all of our ducks in a row, there's not a lot that they can say to say no.
Yep.
What
And
about Skills USA?
We directly compete with them in certain ways for most of our students,
I know that.
especially
Yeah.
in the graphics program, and they're very much a pay to play. Like just a membership with them for a district would be $5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our graphics person who's been involved with them for 10 or 12 years is actually looking to move away and would like to come to Mites as long as we are an official organization.
You know, Dave, your graphic arts person might be somebody to ask if they'd be willing to help out with our live graphic arts competition.
It's funny you mentioned that. I've been working on that since we got back.
Attaboy, Dave.
And that would be the kind of thing, like we even are big enough and he has enough equipment where we could potentially host that at the school if need be. So I'm working that aspect too.
Okay. Before we get too far, Dave, is that the end of your report?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I move that we accept Dave's report.
Second it.
All right, and now we can open up for discussion. Do we have any more discussion for Dave? Number one, I'd just like to say, Dave, I think it's awesome that you are looking at community enrichment, community involvement, all that kind of stuff for part of our basically our CTSOs, because let's face it, we're public entities. And I know in my school, I 110% believe in making our community better. So I think that that's something that all of our programs and organizations need to do, is figure out how they can help make our communities better, because without our communities, we don't have jobs.
Mhm.
So, but no, I think that's awesome. I think that's great. We have any more discussion for Dave and his CTSO report?
Dave, if you need a story on community service, I know we're building all the shelvings, like display shelves for the 4-H for our Huron County Fair that they have each year. So we're redoing all the shelving for it. I can put together a little story if you want something like that. Or I kind of missed the conversation, but my ear perked up when I heard about community service stuff.
Yeah, Don, that would be great. We can put that either in the journal or on the website. Especially, would you be willing to throw together some plans for the cabinets that you're building?
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You can write a couple paragraphs for the journal, maybe a picture or two.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be super.
Sean, what's up?
Oh, sorry. I had my hand up, then I put it down. I was going to change my mind on this, but now that you called on me, I will voice. So for student leadership thing, so I have been part of Skills for a while, just because in automotive, they don't recognize mites, yada, yada, yada. The student leadership part of it is the biggest part I struggle with. I just don't see, again, in my classroom, my building, any motivation from students to do anything student leadership related. And so that's a challenge. So whatever we decide to do with that to get recognized for CTSO is great, but please just try to make it as easy as possible for getting something together, starter wise, chapter wise, because again, I'm new. I'll hopefully change motivations later, but right now, just getting those students involved is challenging. And then second, and I'm just going to Google it real quick. What have we done, or has anyone looked at the Mike Rowe Foundation as part of our CTSO? Now, the reason I bring it up is because I do NC3 for my automotive program, which is a national certification program. And they were in partnership with the Mike Rowe Foundation last year. And from what I hear, that love relationship is lost. But if you Google Mike Rowe Foundation or the Sweat Pledge, I think this would be a really, really cool thing to blow across the board. Just something to look at. Thanks.
Sean, basically what I'm doing for the student leadership, and this is kind of a requirement for it to be the CTSO, is basically you have to form a small board. So there would be a president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. Those positions, if you were running it like, you should be running it like a club kind of thing. I guess you could run it like a class, but those would be having the student officers would be required. But that's the extent of the required kind of thing. We then offer the student leadership conference for teachers to use. They could use it as part of their curriculum. And that way, I don't necessarily know you have the student buy-in, but you have the students getting the information. As for the Mike Rowe Foundation and the Sweat Pledge, I think that's a great idea. I kind of want to package that and bring it to the exec board before saying too much more about it, because I do know what it is, and I think it could be a really good way to build that community service aspect as well. For those that don't know, it's like kids going through and mowing lawns or shoveling snow kind of thing, and keeping track of how many they do. And the foundation gives them awards as they're hitting certain milestones.
It was about 4 or 5 years ago when he started that Sweat Pledge that we reached out to him to come out to a convention. He did reply. He was just busy at the time. I don't know if he replied or somebody replied, but and he was busy at the time. I don't know the price to get him out as a keynote, but we were trying to get him out as a keynote, so. But he declined because he was busy the whole year. He couldn't come out, and he supported what we did. But that was, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was when he first kind of started that and getting kind of big. Maybe we should look into that again. I don't know the price to get him out or any of that stuff, but we did as an organization reach out to him.
I think too, with the live competition and say the job interview, that's all part of leadership. I mean, in my way, when I look at it, I feel like it's part of it. So, I mean, I know, Sean, I understand what you're saying. So I think if you can buy, you get a couple students, hey, there's this job interview thing at Mites, get them to enter and do it. I think would help.
Yeah, let's start making a list of people speakers we want to get involved in. Maybe if they can't do a keynote, they might be able to come on the podcast, or we could do a virtual interview with them. Look at some of these alternative ways to get them involved with our organization. Any other questions for my report?
All right, great conversation today. All right, so with that being said, all those in favor of accepting Dave's report, say aye.
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 And all those opposed, say nay. Okay, with that being said, we accept Dave's report, and we can move on to Industrial Contact Committee, Jim Thielander.
What are we doing? The contact I've had was with getting money for us from our legislature. No really industrial contact. I met with my legislator at church and said he can get us the another 50K. The question I have long-term is what can we do to invest part of that or invest what we have in a couple other accounts so we can take and grow the funds, which could be I suppose, a moot point. So as long as he's there, we're going to get another $50,000 a year. Along with that, the lobbyists didn't do anything to get us the money. No action required on their part. I still don't know what they do. I've never seen a lobbyist report. So to me, it's a complete waste of money.
All right, let's make sure we stick to our topic of our report for Industrial Contact Committee.
Well, what I put down here is how can we spend our grant money? I sent that out. I don't know if you guys have got an attachment. You have a suggested here for, let's see here. Found a new technique, spread the word, put it on the webpage. Read a couple of paragraphs and take a picture or two and send it to your local paper, send it to the Mites Journal, send it to Dave Weeks to post it. In the same article, you got 3 hits. Develop workshops covering all areas, could be at a company, demos, skill development, get new grant project ideas, equipment ideas, new uses, techniques, etc. Ask local companies any size for a demo or a field trip. Asking is the first step to success. Don't ask, don't tell. Bringing a speaker to demo at your school. Invite regional members and students. Wouldn't hurt your evaluation either. Send a note to our webmaster, Dave Weeks, and get it in the webpage. Let the leadership know. Invite school board members, community members, legislators. Let them know what you're doing for good. That's good for kids. Always take a couple of pictures for your evaluation, local paper, school newsletter, and for the journal. Strut your stuff. Fund a field trip. Ask around about companies and what they make and find something interesting. Ask them for a tour for an hour or so for a field trip, on-site demos, and speak to your students. Encourage them to learn and grow and acquire both marketable and lifelong skills. Fund a community project, even a building a fence, picnic tables for a park, playground equipment, and the possibilities are endless. Results, students get experience and it helps build a community. As Rodney Dangerfield says, your program and your students will get respect. Do a Habitat for Humanity project. Too big, combine with other schools. It's a win-win project. Students learn how to build, put their skills to work, plus they get to add something to their resume. Students learn about community. 7, request funding through our president, Chuck Lucchese. Next, Lisley. I've been retired since 2013. I'm really bored and I'm willing to help anyone write a grant, a letter, get organized, and in turn, give me a reason for getting up in the morning. Retired, I mean, I retired 4 times. I'm glad to help anybody do anything to move things forward. That's my report. I move that it be accepted.
Second.
All right, and open for discussion.
Yeah, some of those people on your email list, Jim, are no longer in education.
Ah,
Yeah, I seen your email list because I get it. You're sending it to people that I think it needs to get sent to a different group of people that you're sending out.
yeah. Well, let me
Because a
know.
lot of those people are, it's just send it to me or Yasmin. That's what I think. And then we will push it from there.
All right.
All right. So not to get off topic, but Pete, thanks for bringing that up. Jim, remember you have 2 contact people. We as an executive board met with you. Let's make sure that we hold up our bargain. I know that I myself and the rest of the executive board have held up to our end of the bargain. So let's make sure that you hold up your end of the bargain. Okay? But we don't need to get into that. We don't need to keep on going down that rabbit hole. So let's bring this back and talk about any discussion or questions for Jim in relationship to his industrial contact committee report.
The only issue I have, Chuck, is when I send something to you and I don't see it getting sent out.
Jim, I literally just got done saying that we are going to keep it to discussion on your industrial contact committee. So I'm going to answer you this one question. And then we're going to move on to talking about the industrial contact committee. And the reason why I don't email you back is because we literally have an agreement where you are supposed to contact Yasmin or Pete, and that's it, which means that you contact them and you don't contact me. So literally, I'm holding up my end of the agreement and you are not. But let's make sure we move past that. Let's look at our industrial contact committee, our contact agreement. So any discussion in relationship to industrial contact?
Have you reached out to Ford again on anything?
Not recently, no. What I was gonna do is reach out to General Motors and get their support. It's I have several students, former students that work there, and my son works there. So I think we can get some support there.
All right.
I'm going to suggest we also reach out to Toyota as well, because they have a pretty active high school training program called T-Tech. I know they're not part of our big three, but let's be honest, if the big three doesn't want to be involved anymore, then we need to think what's best for the kids. And the kids are all about the JDMs anyways, so let's tie them into this equation as well. I could also add in Hyundai because they're pretty open with their stuff as well. Again, not my top two picks. Don't forget Stellantis because they just bought FCA and Chrysler.
Well, what is Stellantis?
So Stellantis is now Chrysler.
Okay. Stellantis is not Chrysler. All right. Good.
All right. Do we have any more questions or comments for Jim in relation to industrial contact committee?
Yeah, I'll be seeing my legislator again shortly. Make sure we still got the 50,000 coming. He's the guy that got it for us. That's the end of my report.
All right. Any more questions for Jim? Okay. With that being said, all those in favor of accepting Jim's report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those in favor, all those against, say nay. All right, and with that being said, we accept Jim's report and we move on. Dennis Herron, Mites Endowment, and this should be Dennis Herron and Josh Burkhardt. So what do we have for the endowment?
Go, Josh.
Yes, I will go. Okay,
All
so no change in the endowment. We still have the same balance, as you could see in the treasurer's report there. The balance amount, actually trying to pull it up right now. It's okay. Well, let me just go back to my link here. Okay, so the endowment fund sits at $17,142.02, and we had agreed that we could put that into CDs, but right now CDs percentages are just at or below what savings accounts are. So if anybody has any ideas for other types of investments that you'd like to bring to the executive board for future investment of the endowment fund. One of the criteria the board has set for that is just the fact that we want to be able to have access to those funds. So nothing that would lock them up to where we couldn't get a hold of them if we were to invest them. But at this point, there's really no change to the endowment as it sits. So that is my report.
All right, I move to accept Josh's report.
Second.
All right, and we open this up for discussion. So here's my here's my question. Jim, you were asking about endowment or you're asking about investing and things like that. So let's see, two things. Number one, Jim, as far as the grant that we get goes, there's wording in there that doesn't allow us to invest the grant. But if you can somehow get your legislature to change some of the wordage, we can do that. But let's focus on what we have right now with the endowment, in which case you asked for a committee to put together so we can look at investing. Jim Thielander, what have you got for us as far as investing? What's your committee? Who's it comprised of? And what have you got for us since you're here on this meeting? Let's hear it.
We haven't done it quite a while. So I had Dennis Herron to be part of the committee, and Cliff Lerner, and one other guy, I don't remember his name. Haven't heard not hardly anything.
Okay.
My recommendations that I talked about were mutual funds because they're safer. And we didn't do anything with Ford. Ford's gone up 4 times the original amount when I suggested Ford.
Okay.
So what I'd like to do is call a meeting with those guys and make a recommendation and move forward on it.
Okay.
Letting the money sit at some bank account at 0.1% interest is actually losing money. It's not doing us any good. It's losing money. So we need to put it to work and hurry up and do it.
All right. So Jim, I'm just gonna throw it out there. You say that we need to, but you wanted to be in charge of this committee. And so we are waiting on your committee to get together and to give us direction. So we meet again in 2 months. Hopefully by that time you can meet with your committee so that we can come up with a decisive plan so that we can actually invest and move forward. We are open to it, but we will not move forward on the advice of one person. That's why we have a committee. So please, for our future sake, get your committee together and let's get some advisement between your group so we have a direction to go in. So, because just like I said, we decide we're not going to move forward unless we have the advice from the committee.
Very well. I'll get that.
All right. Thank you.
I have a question. I have
Go
a
ahead.
question. Mutual funds can be withdrawn at any time. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the liquidity part. When we get our grant from the state or from anyone else, we put it in the bank, so that's invested. The fact of the state grant is it has to be spent within a time period. So, if we mutual fund invest that grant money until we spend it or until the deadline comes, we should be okay. What part of the grant says you can't invest it? I mean, I assume they're talking long-term, but certainly whatever bank we choose, whatever fund we choose, we should be able to do that as long as it can be withdrawn, in a timely fashion, and as long as we fulfill the obligation of spending that grant money within the period of time we were allotted. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, there are no restrictions.
That's a question for Josh to answer since he's the one dealing with the intricacies of the grant and reporting. So Josh, can you go ahead and talk to us about Dennis's question?
Yes, the grant itself indicates that it must be spent in the use of supporting teachers and students in our field. So that's where the restriction comes in that, I mean, technically, if you wanted to use the money to invest in the short term and make sure before the end of the year it's spent in the long term, by that point for the purpose of you know, doing that and fulfilling the grant, you could do that because technically you're still spending it. It's just which, you know, are you saving it in a bank account or are you saving mutual funds? There's nothing in there that says you can't put it into a mutual fund to hold it. The concern we had originally when looking at this grant was if something happened and we couldn't access the money like we can with a bank account. Let's say the mutual fund, you know, by the time we went to spend it, actually dropped. Company went bankrupt that it was in, or companies or whatever. We just, you know, we were in a transition period with COVID and everything. We had no idea what was going to happen. So we said, let's just make sure, you know, we're following this to the letter. If we were to turn around and lose the money because we invested it, then we run the risk with the state that we didn't fulfill the obligations of the wording of the grant. So that was the concern that we had as a group going into that. But as far as, you know, are you storing the money in a mutual fund, are you storing it in a savings account to be spent? That's really, you know, I mean, from what I understand, that would be here nor there. Either way would be okay, as long as it's spent by the end of the year.
Is there a Ford mutual fund? Just to get a feeling for how that goes?
There's not a Ford mutual fund, it's just Ford stock. There's mutual funds that have invested in Ford. Ford is just one example that I'm most familiar with because that's what I deal with.
Sure.
There's lots of mutual funds to look at that would be beneficial. And the one Contra fund, the one I showed you guys a while back, that's doubled. So when I was in it was like $100 a share. Now it's $180 a share, something like that. There's no restrictions on where we can invest it or put it to rest until we need it. And there's also, you also have money coming in from dues and other things that could be used to offset that investment. In other words, you got like rob Peter to pay Paul kind of a scenario, I suppose. There's money available in our current treasurer, so what do you call it, account for
savings, yeah.
Whichever one it is, Josh knows what they are.
Yeah.
There's money right there that could be taken out, put it where it can grow, right? And make money for us, make us stable for decades.
So the big question is really whether we're willing to risk you know, our funds in an investment that could go up or down. Most likely it's going to go up, but that was the roadblock, you know, 20 years ago when we started the endowment. We didn't want to take that jump. So that's the real question. Are we willing to risk? That's the question. So when we have this discussion with our committee, you know, we make a recommendation and then present it to the board of directors or the executive board, and we go from there. Seems like that's our next step.
Right. Let's get together and meet and get something done.
Okay, but that's exactly where we're at right now. Just to bring us back and to bring us into focus about where we're at and where we're going. We have a executive board that is willing to invest our endowment, and we have said this numerous times, that we are willing to invest our endowment at the recommendations of our endowment investment committee, but we still haven't gotten a recommendation from the committee. So we can keep on moving forward. we're still waiting on recommendations from our committee, which Jim Thielander is heading, and he is supposed to get us hopefully by our next meeting so that we can look at investing and growing that fundage. Being that we have changed so much in the last 2 years, you'll find that our executive board is more than willing to work and listen and help anybody in any situation and listen to it. So we need to continue to move forward with what our actions are. We've made a statement, we've pushed it, and now we're waiting to follow through. We are an organization of our word. So do we have any more questions for?
Yes, I do. I
All
have
right,
a
let's hear it, Pete.
suggestion. I have a suggestion for the endowment committee, Josh and Dennis. Says nobody puts money into it. Honestly, how many people, I mean, looking at membership a couple times, a couple thousand. What about, and this was brought up to me when we were at our summer meeting, and Rick Silitz actually brought it up. Having a breakfast, the cost, and meet at some restaurant, the cost of the breakfast is $20-25. What, and then everybody puts their money at the end. This is what the total bill is. You pay the bill, whatever is left over gets put in the endowment fund. To have, at all around, we could have them, a lot of the retired people, anybody. I would go, if there was one close enough, I would go to it, pay the $20 just to sit and chat with, Dennis and Rick and Cliff and, all old members, I think, and reach out to all the old retired and people and say, hey, we're doing this.
Hey, you calling us old?
Well, yeah, I'm right up there by you. But I'm just, to me, it's at the end of the day, it's if 10 people show up and it's $20 and, but it's a way to put money into the endowment. It's, $50 at a time. You do it once a month or every other month.
No, I think that's a great idea, Pete.
I think I'll put this in my will.
I think it would just be adding to it. I mean, over time, it would help. So that's, because we'd probably see more money added to it that way than what we see people giving money to it. So it's just an idea that we could start or something. And that would be something you could put out in a newsletter. That we send out, hey, next month, there's going to be a breakfast at such and such a place, let the restaurant know that. So, yeah.
I like that idea. That's cool.
I will put that underneath our publications flyer as a possibility.
Contact Rick Silla. He belongs to a group that meets once in a while, and just ask him to flesh it out and make plans to do it, and we'll all join him.
He got the idea because his cousins or something live in Minnesota. They're pretty well off, and they meet together, and they take the extra money and then they donate it out to people in need within their community. That's his idea. That's where he came up with the idea.
Yep.
So it was his idea, not mine.
Yeah. So I'd say let's put him in charge.
Yeah.
Since he's not here.
I'll talk with him. I'll give him a jingle.
Cool. Don't tell him I said that.
All right.
All right. Do we have anything else for Josh and the endowment committee? Okay, with that being said, all those in favor of accepting Josh's report, say aye.
Aye.
And all those in favor, or all those opposed, say nay. Okay, with that being said, we accept Josh's report and we move on. Andy Romes, I don't think he's on with us today for the construction trades. But Kevin, I believe Kevin's working on reaching out to him so we can get that all taken care of. And then moving. Go ahead, Kevin.
I said, yeah, so a couple of emails. He's responded to one, so.
All right. keep on reaching out to him so we can get that going. I know he's pretty consistent with making sure that that construction happens. So let's just make sure we have all of our ducks in a row before we get to the competition. So moving on, automotive competition. We talked about this a little bit earlier with the underneath other live competitions. So I don't think we really need to go over that again. Like I said, I'll be reaching out. I've got a list of people that we're going to reach out to so we can get that one going and up and ready. So we'll go ahead and move past that. Appointments. I talked to Rick Tanker, and he said he does not have any appointments right now. But hopefully as we move into our next meeting, we'll have a couple appointments for our national organization and for maybe RAO chair, but we'll talk about that at our next meeting. So just since we have a pretty decent little group here going, if you want an option to become more involved, but you don't want to step into a big position, we do have a lot of other positions available. I know Dave is sending out or has sent out a list of options, but like for instance, when we look at our convention, we have, with the new constitution, we have a new breakdown for the convention chair, so that there's not one person doing everything. It's actually going to be a committee of people. So like, for instance, I believe there's a social committee or a social chair that's going to help Adam come up with all the different social activities that go along with our convention. There's another one that's going to be a PD chair. So you would actually get involved and you'd organize all the different PDs and all that kind of good stuff. What we're finding is we were a really big organization with lots of positions. And now just with attrition and with our state of the country and where we're at, we're having a lot less people be a lot less involved. So if there's something that you want to step into, by all means, reach out to me, reach out to Pete, reach out to any one of the executive boards members, and let us know that you're wanting and willing to step into a position, because we have, not all of them are large positions, but we have other positions that are very important that need to be filled and we need help with. So the more volunteers that we can get to help our organization, the better we can do it, because it's not focused on 10 people or 12 people or 20 people. It'll be based off of a lot more. The more we can spread the work out, the more work we can get done. So we don't have any appointments right now. Moving into old business. We have 2 items underneath old business. Oh, I put the one underneath new business. So, all right. Email list for vendors. Okay, I know that there was a discussion with Rob Lindsay because we have an email list that we say is available, but we've kind of have a new stance on that. So let's see, Rob, can you kind of briefly go over and touch on what we'd like to do with that?
Well, I had a couple of companies, Central States Forest Products and L&L Johnson. They wanted our email list because we've always provided that in the past. And on our website, even on this document right here, you guys can't see it, but even on the other document, we promised that we would give them access to our membership. And it's in writing on the website and on the paperwork I sent to them for commercial exhibits. So L&L Johnson, her name is Billy Joe, wants that email list. And you guys said you wanted me to have them send information to Pete, and Pete would put it out to all our membership. Well, I still think we need to hold our word to that and give, companies that give us, like Central States gave us $4,000. And I think a company that gives that kind of money should have access to that without going through anybody, just give them the email list. It says it's hard to get it out of not Pete, that was, David said it's hard to pull all those email addresses up off the website because the way it's set up right now. But I think we need to honor our word. That was just my opinion on it. And it's gonna actually make my job a lot harder, especially if these companies decide to drop out of mites because we didn't give them what we told them we would give them. So I don't know. That's where I'm at with it right now. I mean, I'll do whatever you guys want to do, but I'd sure hate to lose donations like that. 'Cause that helps us. $4,000, that's a lot of money.
Okay, so I guess, how about this? Dave, can you talk to our hesitations about this briefly?
Yep. So one, we have not put anything out to our membership informing them or for them to give us consent to share their email addresses. Legally speaking, email addresses are now considered private and confidential information. We can't, even if it's in writing of something we've done in the past, we can't, I mean, we could do it. I don't think we should. I don't think we should be giving our members' contact information to anybody. If they want us to send out stuff, I'm happy to do it on their behalf. But unless like individual members release their personal information for us to give out, that puts us in a potential legal situation that I strongly don't think we want to be in. I think that we need to change the language in whatever contract that is. I'm not familiar with it and where the wording is on the website. And I think that's something we need to do very soon, just so we don't keep getting into these situations. But in the meantime, kind of as a stopgap to meet our obligation that we have put with these vendors, if they give us something that they want sent out, I'm happy to send it out. I just don't want us to be in that spot where we're taking information from our members and just giving it out. I think that can do more harm than good. As for the monetary thing of it, to me, the $4,000 or $5,000 donation is nothing compared to a potential $50,000 lawsuit.
You know, even to add to that, because school emails are public, which we could give those out, but even some school emails, when you go to that school's website and you click on the teacher to email, you don't get their email. You have to put your stuff in and then it gets sent to that teacher. So even schools in a way are blocking what their email is. I mean, like, yeah, you can't even find out what their email address is, so that, you know, I just did that the other day. I had to email a teacher about something that I know in another district to ask her a question. And basically, yeah, I had to ask one of my relation that teaches in that district how their email address works. So to get it, because it was a pain, because you got to, you know, type it in that little box. And so, yeah. So I even think that's how schools are getting around it, so that companies just don't go onto their website and copy all the email addresses.
Well, and the other thing is there are internet bots that will just troll, like churn through and process all the pages in a website just looking for email addresses.
Yeah.
And that's really the bigger problem, because then they can use that for a variety of other things.
Okay, so here's what I'm hearing is that from here on forward, we do not want to have the option to release email information, email lists. Okay, so which it sounds like we have a lot of information backing that, in which case I'm totally okay with not giving out that information from here forward. So let's make sure, Dave and Rob, can you guys go onto the internet, onto our website and make sure that our number one, from here on forward, that our website does not say anything about releasing emails. Rob, I'm going to ask you to go on to the documentation that you send out to different businesses to make sure that you alter that so that it doesn't say anything about releasing emails to our people that are helping. So that's how we can move forward with where we're at right now and solve this problem. Now, the only question that we have, can we agree upon that moving forward?
I'm good with
Yeah.
that.
I'm good
Okay.
with it.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Here, let me read what's on our website. And
Well,
then we'll
is
change
that-
it. It's okay. I don't have a problem changing anything, getting rid of
Okay.
it. It's fine.
Hey,
I
Rob,
want you to
before-
hear it.
Before
It
you
says
begin,
right here,
wait, Rob,
titanium.
Rob,
Rob,
What?
can
hang
I
on,
ask
hang
you
on, buddy.
what page you're looking at so I can confirm what you're reading?
Oh, sure. That is, information contact sheet. And it's in a couple of other areas too. It says Mike's Journal Advertising Information Contact Sheet. And so what the person that's authorizing the advertisement, when they did the advertisement, it's a sheet I sent to them. It's got all the prices on it for like a quarter page, a half a page, whatever. Okay. And if you look down towards the bottom, it had, and then it says to contact, Rick Sillett on it for this, the advertising. But if you look down at the bottom, it says, it has a description. Let me find it again.
Yep.
Titanium sponsor, this is just one out of all of them. It says titanium sponsor, 5,000 or more. At the bottom, it says corporate membership includes access to the Mike's membership directory.
Corporate membership,
Right.
they paid dues.
Okay, so Rob, that's the reason I couldn't find anything on this when I was searching the website. Those are documents that I've gotten from you that are linked. So if you can change those, because like what you're reading there, the advertising information / contact sheet,
Yeah.
that's from 2019.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
create any of this. This would be Jeff Gulsarian or somebody before him created all of this. not
Right,
me.
I don't, well, what I'm saying is I don't have access to these documents. So if you can
All
either
right.
share them with me, well, you know what, why don't we do this? Let's, next week, set up a meeting sometime, or this week, I'll get hold of you. We'll set up a meeting and we'll go through all these.
Okay.
And that way we can then, like at the exec board's next 2-week thing, we can present them with recommendations and get a vote for them on how to resolve this.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Hey, I'm willing to do whatever you guys want to do. You know,
Yeah, sure.
I don't have a problem with it. It's
All
just that I sent the thing out to all our vendors. It's on there.
Well,
So
and you know
I
what,
thought
Rob,
at the time we should have honored it, but
we can come
and
up
we
with a
did honor it up
stopgap.
till this year.
Yeah, we can fix it for this year, and then we'll change it for moving forward.
Okay. So
Sounds
that,
good.
thank you, Dave. That was going to be my next question is, so you guys have a meeting sometime next week where you're going to discuss, you're going to go through, make sure to change everything for moving forward. Now, when we look at where we're at right now, we have, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, we have 3 different vendors that have already signed up. So
Yes.
technically, we should honor what we have with those 3 this year. Are we okay with that, or should we come
Yeah.
up with
And
okay?
I'll come up with, and I won't send any of them that I have their personal email. I'll only send their school email. That if they don't have a school email, then I'm not gonna send them.
But you know
that
what? Any of the
email
emails we have, it's like getting an email blast for like this meeting, for example.
Yeah.
If we send it out like that, we still have the info, like we're still controlling the information that people have given us.
Yeah.
We would just send it out on the vendor's behalf through our system.
Right. And we
I
could
think
add
that would be-
and we could add their email to that list, so it gets blasted out to them. So
Yeah,
they
we
see
could-
that it's actually getting blasted out.
Yep.
All right, so let me get this right. Are we moving forward with our 3 contracts that we have? Are we agreeing to give them an email list, or are we agreeing to send out stuff on their behalf?
I would say send out on their behalf. Is that good with you, Rob?
Yeah, it's good with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about this? Since we only have 3 different organizations that we're talking with, Rob, can you do me a favor? And can you contact those 3 to make sure that that is an okayable agreement? We want to make sure that they're happy. We can say all day long that, yeah, this is something that we like, but we need to make sure that they're part of this contract and they're part of that agreement. So let's make sure that they're okay with that. Because if
All right.
they're not okay with that, then we have to figure out how we're going to move forward with this situation.
Do we want to see if we can even maybe get them a revised contract? Once we
Let's-
have it all worked out?
You know,
Let's
the
ask them about this
documents
first.
said- The documents say access to the membership directory. But access to the membership through us, isn't that equally as good? And
Yeah.
it also should say, you know, you can't sell this once you get a hold of it. So, you know, if we're modifying anything, we have to keep that in mind.
That's actually a really good point, Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could dissect it that way. Sounds good.
You know, and if you open the door to 3 corporations and they go out and, you know, cost us members because members don't want to hear from them. You know, we mentioned earlier, some people are getting too much email. Here you go. It's, you don't release your membership directory except to members. If it includes a membership, corporate membership includes access to the membership directory.
Hey, David, I have,
Are they corporate members?
David, I have a question for you. When the membership lists, well, when you send stuff out, is there ways of sending it out? So like one is coming from vendors, one is coming for like the journal, one is coming for RAO information. Is there a way of sending it out in different groups so that if somebody says, hey, I want to unsubscribe from group A, I can unsubscribe from group A, but I do want to hear from group B and C. Can you do that?
At this present moment, no, but that's actually something I'm working on.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really want to get too far into it just because I don't want to commit to something I can't necessarily do just
No,
yet.
I totally understand, but I mean, that way, that would be one way that you can choose and pick what you want to be bombarded with.
Yeah, and really, I mean, this is kind of, as we've done more, I'll call it email marketing. It's kind of a growing pain we've gotten into, that I didn't necessarily foresee that we would several years ago, but it's something that I think in the next month or 2 I can solve that problem.
All right. So we have a direction to go with where we're at right now. Dave and Rob?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I'll get with David this week and we'll go through it all. But
All
yeah,
right.
it is a link on our website, that document. So you guys
Okay.
can all check it out.
All right. So as long as we make
Actually, I
sure.
asked you to check it out at the last executive board meeting. Everybody take a look at it and so you know what I was talking about. So.
All right. So moving forward, let's make sure that happens and let's adjust our documentation so that it reflects what we would like to see. All right. So with that being said, we can move on to I have it in 2 places because I put it in once. My bad, Yasmin. But let's cover the budget. Josh Burkhardt, do you want to quick go over the budget or tell us the ins and outs of it so we can approve that?
Absolutely. So the meeting that we had recently, we came to an agreement on the budget just to flesh it out. And the budget is balanced within $96 of itself. So we're actually 96 in the black for our projected income and our projected expenses. So if you have access to that, I can also drop that link back in again if anybody wants to take a look at it. I'll drop it in the chat. And we'll go from there. But it basically comes out to expenses, total expenses between convention and non-convention of 99,733. This is including the things that we would be spending out of the $50,000 grant. And then an income total of $99,830. Again, this is the grant for 2021, 2022 included. And you'll see that there in the grant is in purple, in the purple section, which is income. So that difference is positive of $96.20. And that is not touching any of the incoming balance from our accounts that we have available as liquid cash. So that still puts us, you know, with $22,000 of by the end of the year, if we didn't have any other expenses outside of that that touch that current balance coming in.
All right, do we have any questions for Josh or the executive board as it relates to our budget? 2021, 2022 budget. All right, I feel like we should get a official vote on this since it has to do with money. So as we vote on this, if we could please put it into our group chat. If you vote to approve our budget, please put down yes in the group chat. If you do not approve or oppose the budget, please put no in the group chat. That way we can have an official count of where we're at.
All right, I gotta click on this.
All right, looking through our chat, it looks like we have 7 yeses, 1 no, and 1 abstention. So with that being our official count, we are voting to adopt our new budget since it is a majority. And we can move on to our webmaster title change. We are up 1 more vote, so let's change that to 8 yeses. Thanks, Don. All right. So let's move to Dave. Tell us about your webmaster title change.
So webmaster is a fairly antiquated term. It's not really used by anybody anymore. And given how my role is more than just doing the web stuff now, I would like to propose that my title be changed from webmaster to chief technical officer or CTO. Any questions I can answer on that from anyone?
No, but
Sorry
it
about the
sounds like
pound
you're
there.
an important person.
How about web administrator? That makes you really important.
You know, because of the,
Web
you know,
administrator.
the letter CTO, it's almost like, you know, CFO, you know, it really makes like you're.
Well, that's what we'll change Josh to as CFO.
Oh, yeah.
Chief Financial Officer, all right.
That's what I was thinking.
He wants to do that so when he loses his job, he's looking for a new job. He's got a great looking resume.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Rob could be chief advertising officer.
Hell no.
Yeah.
It's good the way I am.
Oh, all right. Do we have any questions or comments, concerns, pros, qualms, or queries with changing this over? All right. I don't think we need to do an official vote on this, so let's just do yays and nays. All those in favor of changing the webmaster title to a chief technical officer, please say yay.
Hey,
Yay.
All right, and all those opposed, please say no or nay. All right, so we will officially, we need to make sure that we go back into our new constitution and all of our documentation that goes with that and change that over to chief technical officer. Yasmin and Dave, I will leave that up to you guys. So have fun with all those pages.
That's what search and replace is for.
Hey, he already changed them. You didn't know it.
Yeah.
It's already changed.
Oh, all
you
right.
guys you gotta tell Rick Salette too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let him know.
All right, so moving forward, do we have any new business that we don't have currently listed on our underneath new business? We'll open that up to the floor.
I got one.
All right, let's hear it, Sean.
It may have been covered earlier and I just missed it, regarding funds, resources that we can use for grants. Whoever's in charge of that, if you have not looked into the Margaret Dunning Foundation, they specialize just in automotive. I've written 2 grants in a row for 2 years now. Each grant has been over $30,000 and I've got them both years.
Oh, wow, congratulations, John.
Yeah.
That's all.
We just found a new job for you.
All
We
right.
do have an opening for that.
I think that would be an awesome, especially Sean, let's definitely talk about that when we start looking at our automotive competition, because if we're offering that automotive competition, they might be willing into offering some scholarships or something along those lines for that, especially if they're exclusively for automotive.
Yeah, I'm not a grant writer by any stretch of the imagination, but I just started dipping my toe into it. And what I've learned, at least with this organization, the more students that you're showing an impact in, the more money you can get.
Yep.
So if we're talking about ideas and we're talking about covering an entire state, I don't know how big their foundation is. I just know that they give away a lot of money. But it's got to be automotive related.
Nope. And you say you're not a grant writer, but you know what? You wrote grants and you got money. So, and I'm in the same boat with you, Sean. I've written a dozen grants over the last few years and gotten them. And you don't have to have a title of a grant writer to be successful at writing grants. As long as you got your heart in the right spot and you say the right words at the right time, that's what really matters.
And you know what, Sean? A lot of the grant writing position is just helping collect which grants are available when, and being that contact person.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
I think as an organization, we should write one to that for the automotive competition, because like Sean's saying, we're covering the whole state. Maybe that would help even fund some of that.
I'm gonna write that down on my list so till I can include it in the email next week when I holler at you.
Yeah.
So since I'll probably forget the name by then.
The name of the grant?
The organization is called the Margaret Dunning Foundation.
Yep.
Margaret what?
Dunning, Dunning.
Dunning. Thank you.
Give me a second, I'll put it in the chat.
Super.
All right. Okay, so moving forward, do we have anything else we'd like to include underneath new business?
Yep. Dennis. Couple things, when we were talking earlier about life membership You can actually buy a life membership. I sent it to several of you. 20 times the annual dues will buy you a life membership. So that student
Oh,
teacher
wow.
saving his nickels and dimes, and he might be able to get it. Also,
Many times.
also, I noticed as I was, researching some of the things Rob was talking about, we have a number of locations throughout our publications, website, journal, blah, 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 that sometimes contains periods between the letters of our name. MITES contains no periods, just for your information. So when it's revision time, take the periods out.
Dennis,
Yep.
I can tell you where I've been slowly working on that.
Yeah.
It's from various people working on various documents.
Yep.
So if you see any of them, if you could help me out by sending me the page and like a paragraph number, that would be fantastic. I'd appreciate
Cool.
it.
Yep. The ones
Thank you.
Rob talked about, his links, that's where I noticed it today. And anywhere
Well,
else, I'll
I
send it
didn't
to you.
create that. Whoever made that
Yeah,
document. did.
yeah.
Well,
I'm not
no, you
taking
know
the
what?
hit
All
on
right,
that one
it's-
either.
It's been about a
That's the
92-year fight, so.
Yeah, some of these documents are 10 years old and they haven't
Oh,
been
yeah.
revised. So we need to go through a lot of these and update them.
Yeah, obviously.
Plus you're saving ink.
My
so.
documents have more mistakes than the rest of you. M dot, I dot. Da, da, da.
You got to leave your marks, so.
Yeah. I'll fix that.
I'm really, I do have a third thing, and it has to do with our lobbyist, but I'm really afraid to bring it up. But the thing that I recall on all of our discussions has been, we need to hear from them. So if somebody is, getting documentation from him regularly about what's going on, they need to jot a paragraph down and send it to us, or, once in a while. I mean, that's been the big to do. We don't know what he's doing.
Amen.
The comment I have, with regard to he does nothing is, I recall that when we became part of the state graduation requirements not too many years ago, it was due in part to the efforts of the lobbyist. In other words, the fine and applied arts section where you can take a credit, and you're mandated to have a credit of industrial, vocational, fine art, music. That came about because of our leadership working with the lobbyist on the legislature. So you can't say nothing has ever come of that. Is it worth what we spend? That's a valid question. But I think, every time we have this discussion, nearly annually, we always, the impression is we don't know what's going on because we never hear from the guy. Well, he's obviously talking to some of us, so we need somehow to convey at least the gist of the information that he's sharing with us. That's
Hey,
all I gotta
Dennis,
say.
can
Yes,
I
sir.
ask, do you think it's that he's not, excuse me, do you think it's not that he's actually doing stuff for us, or that it's not being communicated?
I think it's not being communicated.
Okay.
He's talking to our leadership. I hate to pile on, another job for our leadership, but somebody's got to say, okay, we've heard from these items at some point. I mean, we've asked him to write a paragraph every few months, and that hasn't happened. So,
And
but
that's the
obviously
thing,
he's in
yeah.
touch with our leaders. So,
And he sends that stuff to Adam and myself and Chuck. Well, Adam and then I get it, but a lot of it has nothing to do with us. He needs to be more specific on stuff with
that could
us.
be
That's what
conveyed.
I think he needs to, just a paragraph or something that, hey, this is what.
Yeah.
I think that would be better than what all the other BS stuff that gets
yeah, you
sent.
got to wade through it all.
Yeah, you have to wade through it.
Point.
It'd be easier for him. Okay, this is what is happening right now, or something.
Yeah.
Just right. Yeah.
That's my biggest issue. we're paying $5,000. We don't have any kind of report.
Yeah.
Why bother?
Well, I think we also need to remember that when we go to renew contract next year. It's been brought up. I mean, it's a discussion we've had annually for years.
Yeah.
We just don't know what's going on. But,
Yeah.
a few things, yeah, and good. He's communicating with you guys, but that never filters to the rest of us. So that's why the question keeps coming up.
Yeah.
I agree. I'd love to hear from him once in a while. Doesn't even have to be every month.
Yeah, I reiterate again, he did nothing to get us $50,000. It was my legislator that got it.
Well,
see-
Jim, you got to remember, he is talking to the legislators, all of them, about us. So, you can claim that nothing was done on our behalf, but when we've talked to him in person, and that's happened at least at one or two conventions, he has mentioned that what he's talking to him about, and he is representing us. He's representing a lot of groups. So you can't say he's doing nothing, but we're not aware of what he's doing. And that's been the problem.
Now, when there was a changeover from, it was Ollendorf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, before that, yeah.
Well, we invited both of them to our Mike's conference. I think that might have been the year I was chairman. Maybe it was the year after.
He stood up in the stands and talked
Yep.
with us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he does communicate, but we haven't had a conference in a year,
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
He was at Shanty Creek. That was the last conference we had.
Maybe it was Shanty Creek. I
Yeah,
remember
and
him being
then-
there and he had a special room and he
Yeah.
talked to everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
Well, that's the second
Ollendorf,
time.
and then Ollendorf, he was at a summer meeting that Cliff Lehner had in Saugatuck, and then maybe a meeting that Dave
Oh,
King had in can't even think of the school now where Dave's at, Hemlock. Them were the only 3 times that I can think of ever since we've had a lobbyist.
But even if we get them just to talk to us once a year,
Yeah.
tell us what have you been doing? I think that's good. In my
That would go a
opinion.
long ways to keep his
Yeah.
salary.
Yeah.
Mike,
We're
I've talked
really
to-
on the edge of renewing this. Are we going to
talked to
renew him
Chuck.
again?
And what's the other guy's name? About getting some kind of report. And they said, contact each other. I got saved the email. Jim, contact this guy. No, you contact that guy. But I didn't get a report. So if I don't get a report, I don't think it exists.
I
No,
think
you-
we've identified the problems. So
Awesome. I'm gonna take over kind of running the meeting. I think Chuck's having some technical issues. So why don't we do this?
Can you guys hear me?
There we go.
Yeah.
there you go.
He's
All
back.
right,
Nice.
hey,
Hey,
Nice
your
save.
headphones
That's fine.
match your hat.
yeah. Hey, can't help it. I dress in style. All right, sorry about that. My phone died and we had to figure out this whole thing, so I missed out on that last conversation.
Oh, you're lucky.
That was good.
You know, Chuck, just to recap, it is a quick thing about trying to get some kind of regular communication put out to
Okay.
membership from our lobbyist. But I think quarterly, some kind of update from him at whatever meetings we're at.
Okay, and that's something, it sounds like if we're asking for quarterly results from our lobbyists, and I would say, let's get with Adam, since he's our lobbyist person, he should be able to at least write up some sort of a, like I said, a recap of what they've done over the last quarter. I don't think that's out of range.
No.
So,
Thank
You know,
you.
we need to justify the expenditure.
yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with it. I agree with you 100% on that. So we're spending money. We should be seeing what's happening. So let me talk to Adam. And I don't think Adam will be against that. I know he's a busy guy, especially with his what he has going on now, but he'll probably be all right with that.
Well, another course of action is if each of you guys would write your own legislators and ask them to keep you informed of anything that might concern us, they would be glad to do it for free.
All right, looking at our agenda, we are on new business. So do we have anything else to talk about in relationship to new business?
I got one, and this is probably for Pete though, and it's kind of a question, I guess. So my school is a little old school and they want like a hard copy of, like when I renew my membership.
Yeah.
And last time I went through the website to like print off a membership sheet to like do a purchase order, is that still available?
It should be, I think, is it, Dave? It's a lot shorter now too. I shortened it up. It's only one page, I think, now.
Okay, I'll look again. I just, 'cause all I saw was PayPal and something other.
Hey,
I
Don,
I think
I'll
it's
try
towards the
and,
bottom.
yeah, I'll try and track it down. What's a good email to reach you at?
I can send it too. I have it. I
Okay,
have actual thing too. I'll just send it to you.
that would be great.
I have one.
Thanks.
All right. Do we have anything else for new business? Okay, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All right. So with that being said, do we need to vote on adjourning?
Nope,
No.
nope, just hit the
All right.
hammer.
All right, click, click.
There you go.
Hit leave.
Thank you for everybody joining us today. We had a lot of great conversation. And I look forward to seeing you all at our next meeting in November.